Yo, too, what's good with it, boy? We back again with another live video. You already know how this go. Hey, I got some good news for y'all though. We coming back out with the vlogs. My editor just hit me up and said, "Yo, are you still YouTubing?" I said, "Yeah, I just haven't been posting because I don't got an editor no more, and you was the only one I was fucking with." And he said, "You trying to get back on?" I said, "What? You for real?" He said, "Yeah, we could push out two to three a week." I said, "That's crazy," because I wrote that on my goals for 2024, but it looked like it's happening already. So make sure y'all stay tuned for the daily vlogs. Y'all know I love vlogging. I had to delete my other vlogs because I thought I was gonna do some opposite with this channel, but I should have just kept them up. I don't know why I deleted them. You know, it's one of those decisions you make without really thinking. So that's why I don't have any vlogs of with them too. But stay tuned to those. Be look out for those, I should say. But how y'all doing though? Y'all see I'm back and I'm patting my head. My head itch. But I think my reading like low key like damn. But hold up. Actually, no. I know I should have had this set up already, but come on. I'll be right back. The shower, because like when you see a shower that looks like this, bro, like that's elite. Yeah, that is. That's elite, bro. And Keanu's room. Yeah, they're like, all right, it's like for example, the people that were staying here before us, bro, was a family. Like they probably had their room with the baby in here, and like the sons had like this room. Yeah, bro. Hey, man, that's what I'm saying. It was cold earlier. You guys turn the heat on? never worried about nothing. So that case, I'm the realest. Oh my God, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry, I was looking at something. I ain't never worried about another. That's case, I'm a realist. I've been traveling around since even. Actually, I'm about to put y'all on this. I'm about to put y'all on this. Damn, it's all in my face. Alright, I think that's cool. Like, if I put it. That just looks, like, weird. I'm sorry to, like. What if I do this? What if I do this? And then I could just be like this. And then aim the light over here. Boy, I always make it work, boy. Ask me to do something, I'm gonna figure it out. What's good, y'all? My apologies for the late start. I was looking at something amazing and it encouraged me to get it. But as y'all can see by the title, I named this title Make Room for Failure. You feel me? Cause, you know, wait, let me make sure. What did I name this title? Hold up. I ain't gonna lie. I forgot what I named the title. But I think it's like something, make room for, cause, fuck, I can't even talk right. But it's basically just off of this chapter that I read yesterday. Cause I read a chapter yesterday. And it was, in the chapter, it's called Make Room for Error. And what that means is we gotta make room for a failure, right? Because we think, when we achieving something that, failure isn't a thing. But we have to make room for failure so when failure comes, you know, we're not surprised about it. We're not surprised about it. We have to accept that we will fail and it's a part of the journey. But what's not a part of the journey is quitting. Now, if you quit, there's a difference. You can't make room for quitting. You shouldn't make room for quitting. You should make room for failure. So the chapter we're talking about today is called Make Room for Error, right? And we're going to speak about that. That's what it is. That's what it says. It says room for error. It says the most important part of every plan is planning on your plan not going according to plan. So what is that saying? It's basically saying plan on your plan not going according to plan. That's what it's saying. Like, plan on that. You feel me? Meaning, don't, like, basically have a backup plan, right? Plan on your plan not going according to plan, right? So we have to make room for error, right? So let's get into the chapter today. I'm on my kill 5 already. He crazy. He crazy. That boy just got off work. Yeah, so let's get into it. Make sure y'all listening. You feel me? Because all I want to do is educate y'all and expand y'all mind and y'all thinking. You feel me? That's all I want to do. And to inspire y'all to read. Because reading gives you leverage. Reading reading gives you um, the ability to think better, to see things better, to move better, to act better, because the way you think is the way you act, right? Your thinking determines how you're gonna act. So if you think about, you know, what can I use? Just think, right? If you think about something, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna act on that thinking, right? And majority of the time, we think in ways that aren't beneficial to us. So we act in ways that are beneficial to us. So that's why we have to read and expand our minds. People don't like to read, and I understand that. And it's crazy that I'm saying this because, like I said yesterday's live, I never read prior to my years, right? I never read a book, never. Ask anybody, and the people that knows me or knew me will tell you the same thing, that they surprised that I'm doing this. But I know what it does, because when you learn more, you earn more. And I'm reading because I want to earn more. You feel me? Like, that's why I'm reading books, because I desire to earn more. I desire to become more, right? To be more, to do more, right? So I have to expand. I have to shed the old version of me that no longer exists, that served me, right? It was a part of where I'm at now, because if y'all been watching my lives, I've been telling y'all that you need your version today to make the decisions for your ideal person. See, we try to um, beat ourselves down. The version we are today, we try to beat it down and dissipate it and harm it, but we aren't aware of that we need this version today to make the decision to become who we want to become. But we think we got to skip that step. We don't want to deal with the person we are today. So we hate the person we are today. We don't appreciate the person we are today. But we have to start acknowledging that the person we are today is important, just like the person that we want to become. They're both important people, because the version you and me are today needs to make decisions. We need to commit to what we want to do. Decisions are the main key. He fried. He fried. Hey, I see you made it on the live. Yes, sir. But yeah, the version you are today needs to be acknowledged, because if you continue to beat yourself down and to look below yourself and to think you're not important, then the ideal version that you desire of yourself is not going to be created, because you don't even appreciate the version you are today. And you have to appreciate the version you are today to create the version you want to become. You feel me? That's facts. Like, the person you are today is important. It's key. You have to acknowledge it. Because if you don't acknowledge who you are today, you won't be able to create who you want to become. You got to understand that. And I had to understand that. And it came upon me like the version that I was in 2021, right? It made a decision to say, okay, I'm going to do this. That's why I'm where I'm at now, because of that version that I was had to make that decision and say, okay, I want to do this and I'm going to do this, and this is what I'm going to do. You feel me? But we don't like the version we are today. We think it's not enough, but it's everything we need. But the only reason we don't like the version we are today because other people are in the versions we desire for ourselves, so we think we not enough. But you got to understand their process. They had to acknowledge the version they are today to be where they are now. They had to go through the same phase. You feel me? So we got to understand that, and we got to make room for error. So let's get into it. After this, what happened? You said, guess what? What's good with it? Remember that. Pick up a book. I'm like a prophet in your field, boy. Come on now. We need you. The person you are today is important, y'all. You gotta understand that. Love the hell out yourself. Be there for yourself. Cry with yourself. Laugh with yourself. Acknowledge, because you gotta understand that you won't never get this version again. So you better appreciate this version. You better hug this version. You better love this version. You better do everything you desire with this version, because the version you are today won't be the same version you are tomorrow. Period. Point blank. It won't. It can't happen, right? So just think about that. Think about how you're treating yourself right now. Are you treating yourself in a manner that's appropriate to where you are able to create the version you want to create of yourself? Ask yourself, how am I treating myself right now in this moment? Am I telling myself disempowering thoughts, or am I telling myself thoughts to where it uplifts me and it moves the needle, and it's helping me create the version that I want to create of myself? Am I doing that? Ask yourself that. Am I beating myself down unconsciously because I'm looking at other people's plates? Am I am I neglecting myself just because I messed up yesterday? You feel me? Bro, stop being fried. Bro, why did I? Let's get into it. So the chapter is called, y'all see them books in the back. Y'all see them books. That's an accomplishment. That's success to me. I be thinking in the middle of the night, I be like, damn, bro, like, you really doing some shit right now. Like, you don't even know what you're doing, but you know you're doing it. Like, as far as like what you about to do. Like, I'm aware of what I'm doing, but like, he talk about, yo, my bad, fam. Yeah, we on here to learn. That's all we doing. Cause when you learn more, you earn more. And I know you want some money. Who don't want no money? People talking about people talking about, oh, money not important. Why are you working 8 hours a day? What do you mean it's not important? Why are you stressing because the pill's not about to get paid? You need money, but the only reason you got one source of income because you don't know nothing. You're not learning more, so you're not earning more. Talking about money not important. Money is very important in this day and age, in this generation. And we of course we're gonna get in the comments talking about, well, we're gonna of course people gonna bring up God, but God knows. God knows what's best, and He put it in our heart, to do the things we desire, but to always acknowledge God Himself, right? But money is important in this age, because if we don't have money, right, or if we don't learn, man, don't even get me started on learning, because it's some, yeah, just read, just read, read. Open the book that you're interested about. Learn yourself. We don't know ourselves, so we don't. Let me stop talking. Let me just read the book. Yo, can I be a moderator? What do you mean? So we talking about make room for error. It's 11:02, so I'm gonna try to get done by 11:30. So we're talking about make room for error. It says some of the best examples of smart financial behavior can be found in an unlikely place like Las Vegas casinos, right? It says not among all players, of course, but a tiny group. Oh shit. Hold up. Hey, make sure you liking this live. What I tell you about being on my live? Can you still hear me? Let me know if you can still hear me. Hold on, check. All right, hopefully y'all can hear me. So we're talking about making room for error. It says some of the best examples of smart financial behavior can be found in an unlikely place, Las Vegas casinos. Not among all players, of course, but a tiny group of blackjack players who practice card counting. You know I'm a kidnapper. Bro, what? That was wild to say. Read a book, right? It says not among all players, of course, but a tiny group of blackjack players who practice card counting can teach ordinary people something extraordinarily important about managing money. The importance of room for error, right? Because we got to understand the psychology behind money. All we know how to do is spend money. That's all we know how to do. We get a check, spend. We get some tax returns, spend. We don't think about investing. You want to know why we don't invest our money? Because we don't know nothing about investing. We don't educate ourselves on investing. That's why we don't do it. You ain't got to educate yourself on how to spend money. All you got to do is go find something you like and spend it. But we don't invest our money, or it's not intuitive for us to think, oh, I get this check, let me invest 50% of it, and let me treat myself to another 50% of it. We don't think that because we don't know nothing. Bro. It say the funda the fundamentals of blackjack card counting are simple. No one can know with certainty what card the dealer will draw next, right? That's one. But by tracking what cards have already been dealt, you can calculate what cards remain in the deck. Doing so can tell you the odds of a particular card being drawn by the dealer, right? Just listen. Just listen. It says as a player, you bet more when the odds of getting a card you want are in your favor and less when they are against you, right? That's what it is. It says the machines no, it says the mechanics of how this is done don't matter here. It say what matters is that a blackjack card counter knows they are playing a game of odds, not certainties. Cause look, listen to what it said. It say the mechanics of how this is done don't matter. It say what matters is that a blackjack card counter knows, right? They know that they are playing a game of odds, not certainties. So if y'all don't know the definition of odds and certainties, make sure y'all look that up because the blackjack card counter knows that they are playing a game of odds, not certainties. This goes for anything in life, right? It say in any particular hand, they think they have a good chance of being right, but know there's a decent chance of being wrong. It said it might sound strange given their profession, but their strategy relies entirely on humility, right? Yo, can you say pen? I just said it, right? Just listen. So the blackjack card counter knows that they are playing a game of odds, not certainties, right? Just remember that as we read this book, because this can help in an everyday situation. Bro, why you trying to trick me? I'm not dumb. It's a humility that they don't know and cannot know exactly what's going to happen next. So they play their hand accordingly. It say the card counting system works because it tilts the odds ever so slightly from the house to the player. But bet too heavily, even when the odds seem in your favor, and if you're wrong, you might lose so much that you don't have enough money to keep playing. Listen to what this just said, because this is when we bet, right? We bet too much, and knowing that we could lose, right? But we don't think about losing. We thinking about, oh, it's in our favor, so we bet as much as we think we can bet, and we lose it all just because we thought it was in our favor, one, and two, um we thought we could bet more because it was in our favor. It says right here, it say, but bet too heavily, even when the odds seem in your favor, and if you're wrong, you might lose so much that you don't have enough money to keep playing. It say there is never a moment when you're so right that you can bet every chip in front of you. There's never a moment, right? It say the world isn't the kind. It said the world isn't that kind to anyone, not consistently anyways. You have to give yourself room for error. Remember the chapter name, Room for Error. It say you have to plan on your plan, not going according to plan. Right? I read this book last night, but I'm gonna share it with y'all because this book is good. You feel me? This book is really good, and I got a couple more. I got Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to be done with this. So I gotta show up every night and finish this. Oh, I'm gonna definitely be done by tomorrow. Oh yeah. It say history is littered with good ideas taken too far, right? Which are indistinguished indistinct. Oh my God, it's a big ass word. Indis indistinguishably from bad ideas. It's basically indistinguished, but it's indistinguishably. Like it's the that's that's a big word. That's a big word. It's not a big word. They just put an end and then able. So I'm gonna say it again. History is literate with good ideas taken too far, which are indistinct, bruh, indistinguishably from bad ideas. It say the wisdom and having room for error is acknowledging the uncertainty, right? Because remember, the dealer, the blackjack card, the blackjack card counter knows that they are playing a game of odds, not uncertainty, right? Listen to what it said right here. It say the wisdom and having room for error is acknowledging that uncertainty, randomness, and chance are in an ever-present part of life, right? So you can use it's not only on money. This is a life situation too, because randomness happen in life. Uncertainty happens in life, and we all know for a fact that tomorrow is unknown, and it's a ever present part of life. It happens every day. It's a part of life. We don't know what tomorrow brings, but we think we know what tomorrow brings because of what today had brought, and then we bring the feelings that today had brought into tomorrow, so we think tomorrow is the same day as yesterday, but tomorrow is not going to be the same. It's only tomorrow because of the mental concept that you have. Just because what happened today don't mean it's going to happen tomorrow. Just because the plan worked today don't mean it's going to happen tomorrow, because tomorrow brings whole different uncertainty. It brings unknownness. It brings randomness. And we already know from reading this book, you can't prepare for surprises. You can't, it's a surprise. It's inevitable for you to do that, right? It says the wisdom in having room for error is acknowledging that uncertainty, randomness, and chance are an ever present part of life. The only way to deal with them is by increasing the gap between what you think will happen and what can happen while still leaving you capable of fighting another day. Y'all, did y'all hear what it said? It said the only way to deal with this randomness, this uncertainty, this unknownness, right? The only way to deal with it is by increasing the gap between what you think will happen and what can happen. Because when you increase that gap, you are giving yourself the capability of fighting another day, right? It say so. We talking about Benjamin Graham, this the investor, the greatest investor of his time. You know, he had a concept called margin of safety, right? And it also referred to room of error, right? It's a margin of safety. You can also call it room for error or redundancy is the only effective way to safely navigate a world that is governed by odds, not certainties. It say, and almost everything related to money exists in that kind of world. Forecasting with precision is hard. This is obvious to the card counter because no one could possibly know where a particular card lies in a shuffled deck. It say it's less obvious to someone asking, what will the average annual return of the stock market be over the next 10 years? Or on what date will I be able to retire? It say, but they are fundamentally the same. It say the best we can do is think about odds, right? So let's keep going. Make room for error. Make room for failure because that's how you're gonna survive. If you don't make room for error or room for failure, you're not gonna survive. You're not gonna be able to fight another day because you think that the failure that happened today, is not worth living tomorrow, right? Just because it happened. Let's keep going. Right? This is good. Somebody can use this. We gotta make room. Some of y'all might be like, okay, how can I make room? How can I increase the gap between what will happen and what can happen? How can I increase that? That would be my question, right? So think that and it's gonna come to you. How can I increase? I'm asking myself, how can I increase the the gap between what can happen and what will happen to lead me to fight another day, to be capable of fighting another day, right? It says, but when it comes to their own projects, people estimate that renovation will be completed on time and at budget. It say, oh, the eventfully disappointment. It say two things cause us to avoid room for error. Remember, it's two things, right? That causes us to avoid error, right? We all need to know this. So because we run away from things unconsciously, right? I see myself doing it when I don't know something. I kind of back up and be like, oh no, like I'm frightened because I'm ignorant to what it is that I don't know, right? So it says two things, right, cause us to avoid room for error. One is the idea that somebody must know what the future holds, driven by the uncomfortable feeling that comes from admitting the opposite. It say the second is that you therefore doing yourself harm by not taking action that fully exploit an accurate view of that future coming true. It say, but room for error is unappreciated and misunderstood. It's often viewed as a conservative hedge used by those who don't want to take much risk or aren't confident in their views. It say, but when used appropriately, it's quite the opposite. It's a room for error lets you endure a range of potential outcomes, right? What does that mean? room for error lets you endure a range of potential outcomes, meaning like when you have room for failure or mistakes, right? That gives you the opportunity to continue to keep going, to endure, right? And to accept a range of potential outcomes because now you have room for error. If you don't have room for error, you're not going to be able to endure the various ranges of outcomes that are going to come because you don't have that room. And if you don't have no room, then it's going to basically over bust, right? Meaning like if you got a water bottle and you twisting it, right? You twisting the water bottle and the cap is on. Eventually something got to give. It's gonna bust, right? Just like that. If you don't have room for error, then you're eventually gonna bust and then you're gonna break down and then you're not gonna be able to endure. So you have to have room for error. And we're gonna reread this. It say room for error lets you endure a range of potential outcomes. If you don't have that room of error, you a range of potential outcomes is going, you know, um, dominate you because you don't have that room of error. It say an endurance lets you stick around long enough to let the odds of benefiting from a low probability outcome fall in your favor. So if you don't have endurance in this life, you feel me? You're not gonna be able to stick around for what can actually happen, right? Whether that's in life, in the market, or working or running. You know, if you don't have endurance, you're not gonna be able to stick around. It say an endurance lets you stick around long enough to let the odds of benefiting from a low probability outcome fall in your favor. It say the biggest gains occur infrequently, either because they don't happen often or because they take time to compound. It say, so the person with enough room for error in part of their strategy to let them endure hardship in another has an edge over the person who gets wiped out. Game over, insert more coins when they're wrong, right? Listen to that. Listen, oh my God. Oh my God. It just gave us the key, like what to do, right? It say, another is saving for retirement. We can look at history and see, for example, that the US stock market has returned an annual average of 6.8% after inflation since the 1870s. It's a reasonable first approximation to use that as an estimate of what to expect on your own diversified portfolio when saving for retirement. It's a you can use those return assumptions, right, to back into the amount of money you will need to save each month to achieve your target nest egg. Listen to what it say. It say my mouth is so dry. Like my mouth is so dry. It say, but what if future returns are lower? Or what if long-term history is a good estimate of the long-term future, right? Meaning like 2030, 2040, 2050. Like we got to plan for those times, but also those times, those will change, because as the years go, our goals go, it changes. It say, but what, it say, but what if future returns are lower? Right? Or what if long term history is a good estimate of the long term future, but your target retirement date ends up falling in the middle of a brutal bear market like '09? What if a future bear market scares you out of the stocks and you end up missing a future bull market? So the returns you actually earn are less than the market average, right? It say, what if you need to cash out your retirement accounts in your 30s to pay for a medical mishap, right? The answer to those what ifs is you won't be able to retire like you once predicted, which can be a disaster, right? Make sure y'all liking this live. I see y'all coming in and out. What y'all mama used to say, you either going in or you staying in. No, you either going out or you staying in. Pick one. That's what my mom used to yell. Good old days. I used to stay out, right? It's and listen to what it said. It's giving us a solution, right? Make sure you liking this live. Make sure y'all liking this live. I'm giving out game for real. Y'all just gotta listen. That's all. Cause if I was on y'all side and I heard somebody reading the book, I'd be like, let me go get this book. But you know, I've learned and I was told that people only gonna change if they want to change, right? You gotta want to change if you want shit to change. But if you don't, you might say, I want this to change so bad. Like I want this to change. Well, you change. You gotta change first for it to change. You can't change what's outside and not change what's inside. You feel me? It don't go like that. You gotta change the way you think, you speak, all that. All that. I had to do it. But it's all good because it's beneficial for me. Some people might not like the new version of me, but I love it. I love it. I love it. They want the ignorant me. They want the one that's not educated. But the one that I am now, hey, I'm loving it. Like McDonald's. You feel me? I don't even eat McDonald's, but I'm loving it. You feel me? Let's get into it though. It say the solution is simple. Use room for error when estimating your future returns. This is more art than science. For my own investments, which I'll describe more in chapter 20, I assume the future returns I'll earn in my lifetime will be one third lower than the historical average. So I save more than I would if I assume the future will resemble the past. It's my margin of safety. It said the future may be worse than one third lower than the past, but no margin of safety offers 100% guarantee. It say a one third buffer is enough to allow me to sleep well at night. And if the future does resemble the past, I'll be pleasantly surprised. The best way to achieve felicity is to aim low, says Charlie Munger. Wonderful. It's an important cousin of room for error is what I call optimism, bias, and risk taking or Russian roulette, right? Should statistically work. Syndrome. Wait. Oh my God. Oh, my neck. Oh shit. I don't see how my mind is not like still trained on reading. You feel me? Because I read two books a month and my mind be getting tired on me because it's boring as hell. You feel me? But it's all good though. You feel me? Cause the reason we don't earn more money because we don't know more, right? You gotta learn more to earn more. You know, we be trying to fund hella shit with one stream of income, right? And that's impossible. You can't live this luxury life with one stream of income and then you stressing because you can't live this life that you also desire. He talk about some RIP. Let's get into it. We almost done though. We got two more pages and I'm off here. I'm off here. Make sure y'all share this live. Hey, ever blessed. Ever blessed. Share this to your school. Let your school know. Even the high school students, you feel me? Let them know that we on here and we educating and we doing it like no other. You feel me? It's an important cousin of room for error is what I call optimism, bias, and risk taking, or Russian roulette should statistically work. Syndrome, an attachment to favorable odds when the downside is unacceptable in any circumstance, right? You can be risk loving and yet completely averse to ruin, and indeed you should. Oh wow. I hope you're not trolling. Prayers to his family though. Pray that they stand strong to the bad news, not the bad news, but to what happened. I hope you're not trolling because that would be messed up. I ain't gonna lie. Right? It say the idea is that you have to take risk to get ahead, but no risk that can wipe you out is ever worth taking. Listen to what it said. I gotta underline this because I ain't even peeped this. Oh, but what the? I'm not even tired. I'm not even tired. That's the crazy thing. Oh, oh, oh. I can't even find my pen. He's so lame. Bruh, I'm never taking you serious again now. Listen to this. For all the people out there, right? Because we love taking risks. Some of us are risk takers, some of us are conservative, right? But listen to this. This is very, you can take this and run with it and then lock it up and use it. You know how your shirt said just do it right? You got to say some parts here. All right, it says the idea is that you have to take risks to get ahead, right? The idea is that you have to take risks to get ahead, right? But no risk that can wipe you out is ever worth taking. It said the odds are in your favor when playing Russian roulette. Yo, what? You sleep? No, I'm reading. Bro, 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 what is he on? Bro, delete that. Right, it says the idea is that you have to take risks to get ahead, right? But no risk that can wipe you out is ever worth taking. The odds are in your favor when playing Russian roulette, but the downside is not worth the potential of the upside. There is no margin of safety that can compensate for the risk, right? It says same with money. The odds of many lucrative things are in your favor. Real estate prices go up most years, and during most years, you'll get a paycheck every other week. But if something has 90% odds of being right, the 5% odds of being wrong means you will almost certainly experience the downside at some point in your life. And if the cost of the downside is ruin, the upside, the other 95% of the time, likely isn't worth the risk, no matter how appealing it looks. Listen, oh my God, it's talking, bro. Because we all love to take risks, but you can't take risks that's going to wipe out everything, right? You gotta have room for error, right? It say leverage is the devil here. Leverage taking on debt to make your money go farther pushes routine risk into something capable of producing ruin. It said the danger is that rational optimism most of the time masks the odds of ruin some of the time. See, this is why it's good as always to reread because I didn't even catch this. It say the danger is that rational optimism most of the time mask the odds of ruin some of the time. It say the result is we systematically underestimate risk, right? We underestimate risk, right? It say housing prices fell 30% last decade. A few companies defaulted on their debt. That's capitalism. It happens. But those with high leverage had double wipeout. Not only were they left broke, but being wiped out erased every opportunity to get back in the game at the very moment opportunity was ripe. A homeowner wiped out in '09 had no chance of taking advantage of cheap mortgage rates in 2010, right? It say to get around this, I think of my own money as barbelled. I take risk with one portion and aim terrified with the other. This is not inconsistent, but the psychology of money will lead you to believe that it is. I just want to ensure I can remain standing long enough for my risk to pay off. You have to survive to succeed. Remember that. You have to survive to succeed, right? It say to repoint a point we made a few times in this book. Listen, it say the ability to do what you want when you want for as long as you want has an infinite ROI, meaning rate of return. Fucking right. It's a room for error. Room for error does more than just widen the target around what you think might happen. It also helps protect you from things you never imagined, which can be the most troublesome events we face. Room for error does more than just widen the target around what you think might happen. It also helps protect you from things you would never imagine, which can be the most troublesome events you face. It's a room for error does more than just widen the target around what you think might happen. It also helps protect you from things you'll never imagine, which can be the most troublesome events we face, right? Oh, this is good. This part is good. Listen to this story, right? It's a it's a one came in late 1940 when a German tank unit sat in reserve on grasslands outside the city. When tanks were desperately needed on the front lines, something happened that surprised everyone, right? This thing that happened surprised everybody, right? Right. Listen to this story real quick. And then we got one more page and we done. It say out of 104 tanks in the unit, fewer than 20 were operable. Engineers quickly found the issue. Historian William Craig writes, during the weeks of inactivity, behind the front lines, field mice had nested inside the vehicles and eaten away insulation covering the electric system. Right? It said the Germans had the most sophisticated equipment in the world, yet there they were defeated by mice, literally mice. It said you can imagine their disbelief. This almost certainly never crossed their minds, right? It's not intuitive for them to think, oh, our ships won't work because of mice. They would think I mean, not their ships, their tanks won't work because of mice. They never thought that. If their tanks didn't work, they would have thought it was like some type of fuel problem or something. It never crossed their mind to say, oh, a mice might get into the insulation to mess up the electric system. Never thought that, never came across their mind. It says, you can imagine their disbelief. This almost certainly never crossed their minds. What kind of tank designer thinks about mice protection? Not a reasonable one, and not one who studied tank history. It say, but these kinds of things happen all the time. You can plan for every risk except the things that are too crazy to come across your mind. Ooh, that's a bad boy. Listen to what this just said. You can plan for every risk except the things that are too crazy to cross your mind, right? Because when we plan for things, we don't think of things that are out of this world, meaning like that we think will never cross our mind, right? It says, but these kind of things happen all the time. You can plan for every risk except the things that are too crazy to cross your mind. And those crazy things can do the most harm because they happen more often than you think, and you have no plan for how to deal with them, right? It say avoiding these kinds of unknown risks is almost by definition impossible. You can't prepare for what you can't envision. You can't prepare for what you can't envision. Let that sit in your mind. You can't prepare for what you can't envision. How can I prepare for something if I can't see it? That's what it's saying. It say if there's one way to guard against their damage, it's avoiding single points of failure. A good rule of thumb for a lot of things in life is that everything that can break will eventually break. So if many things rely on one thing working and that thing breaks, you're counting the days of catastrophe. So that's saying if you have one stream of income and one day that one stream of income breaks, then you're in a treat for disaster, right? Because it says a good rule of thumb for a lot of things in life is that everything that can break will eventually break. So if many things rely on one thing working, meaning if bills rely on this money, if car insurance rely on this money, if housing rely on this money, if groceries rely on this money, it says if many things rely on this thing working, which is the money, and that thing breaks, you are counting the days for catastrophe. That's a single point of failure. They say most people are remarkably good at avoiding single points of failure. Most critical systems on airplanes have backups, and the backups often have backups. Modern jets have four redundant electrical systems. You can fly with one engine and technically land with none, as every jet must be capable of stopping on a runway with its brakes alone, without thrust reversal from its engines, right? It said the biggest single point of failure with money is a role of reliance on a paycheck to fund short term spending needs, with no savings to create a gap between what you think your expenses are and what they might be in the future. Mm, I'm gonna reread that again. It say the biggest single point of failure with money is a sole reliance on a paycheck to fund short term spending needs, right? with no savings to create a gap between what you think your expenses are and what they might be in the future. The trick that often goes overlooked, right? So it says the trick that often goes overlooked, even by the wealthiest, is what we saw in chapter 2. Realizing that you don't need a specific reason to save. It's fine to save for a car or a home or for retirement, but it's equally important to save for things you can't possibly predict or comprehend. The financial equivalent of field mouse. So it's saying that even though we save for cars, homes, and retirement, we also have to take into account that it's equally important to save for things that we can't even possibly predict or fathom or envision. We have to save because if you've been watching my lives, we read a chapter that talks about surprises. You can't prepare for a surprise. So it says, but it's equally important to save for things you can't possibly predict or envision. We don't save because we think we don't need to save. We need to save because things will come, surprises will come, right? Last page. It say predicting what you'll use. It says predicting what you'll use your savings for assumes you live in a world where you know exactly what your future expenses will be, which no one does. I save a lot and I have no idea what I'll use the saving for in the future. Few financial plans that only prepare for known risks have enough margin of safety to survive the real world. In fact, the most important part of every plan is planning on your plan, not going according to plan. Now, let me show you how this applies to you. Mm. All right, y'all. That's it for that. Once again, this is what I'm reading, The Psychology of Money. We will tap back into, of course, Thomas Sowell's book. We will tap back into that, but you know, we're gonna take our time on the economics book because it's definite. I'm not saying I'm not taking my time on this psychological of money, but as y'all can see, that that economic book is very thick, and I just want to appreciate y'all for tapping in onto this live and getting educated because we know when we learn more, we earn more. So make sure y'all tap in to my next live, and I pray that y'all stay safe and y'all stay educated because education and knowledge is key. Knowledge enhances wisdom. And your wisdom won't be enhanced if you don't have knowledge. Stop scrolling all the time. That scrolling shit don't do shit for you. You watching other people's lives. You watching other people's plates. You watching other people's results. But you not putting in a result. You not putting in the action to see the results, should I say. You feel me? We can't keep doing this shit. We can't keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over again and then become depressed because of the actions we doing. We got to understand that we need today's version for the ideal version that we want to become, that we desire to become. We have to appreciate who we are now, and we have to cherish who we are now, and we have to accept who we are now because we won't be this version ever again. And we need this version that we are today to create the ideal version that we desire for ourselves. Period, point blank. But if you don't appreciate yourself now, then it's going to be hard and difficult to create the version that you also desire for yourself. You feel me? And the only way you're going to be able to do that if you know yourself and if you learn, right? This learning is like, it's, it's very good. You feel me? Like, for real. I seen what it done to me. And I'm not stopping. I feel bad for myself because I only been to Barnes and Noble 2 times this year. I got a lot of books within those. I spent a lot of money within those 2 trips. But when I get back to the city, man, I'm going crazy when I go to the bookstore. I'm talking about I'm spending some racks. I promise you. Cause when 2024 come, man, next time you see me, you won't even see me. But I'm gonna catch y'all on the next live. Make sure y'all tap in and share and like this. Peace.